Let's talk about a silent threat, one that could be right now, compromising the buildings we live and work in every single day. It's a problem that almost always goes unnoticed until the damage is really, really severe. We're talking about the hidden cost of poor waterproofing.
So, let me ask you a question. What do you think is the single most destructive force a building can face? Your mind probably goes to a huge fire, right? Or maybe a powerful earthquake or a hurricane. And sure, those are all huge deals. But what if I told you the most common and destructive enemy is something you almost never see or hear?
All right, so let's pull back the curtain on this unseen enemy. We're going to uncover the quiet, relentless threat that's working away at our buildings from the inside out, often completely under our noses. So the answer, it's not some big dramatic event. It's not fire. It's not wind. It's water. Yeah, just plain old water. It's silent. It is incredibly persistent. And a lot of the time, it's totally invisible while it does its damage. It just finds the tiniest little path and gets to work. Okay, so now we know the enemy. How do we fight back? Well, that brings us to a building's first and most important line of defense. Let's dig into the absolutely critical role that waterproofing plays. So what is waterproofing really? Well, the technical definition is it's the process of making a structure resistant to water passing through, even when it's under pressure. But what does that actually mean? Think of it like a bulletproof shield for your building, but for water. An even better way to think about it is like a super high-tech raincoat for the entire building. And I'm not talking about just any old raincoat. This thing is a seamless, tough-as-nails barrier designed to protect literally everything it covers, from way down in the foundation all the way up to the roof. And what's this raincoat actually protecting? We're talking about the most critical stuff, the real guts of the building. The foundation's holding everything up. The walls and concrete slabs, the steel reinforcement that's basically the building's skeleton, and of course, all the interior finishes we actually see and live with. But what happens when that shield, when that raincoat, fails? Yeah, this is where things get pretty scary, because even a tiny, tiny little breach can set off a chain reaction of massive problems. So how does it all go wrong? Well, it almost always starts with just one thing: poor installation. A small mistake, a seam that isn't perfectly sealed, that creates a tiny, sometimes microscopic gap. And that is all the invitation water needs. The second that infiltration begins, a chain reaction kicks off that is so hard to stop. And here's the kicker, the part that's really terrifying. These leaks are incredibly hard to spot early on. There's no alarm bell, no flashing red light. The water is just silently working its way in, doing damage long before you ever see the first sign of a problem. And that brings us right to the heart of the matter, this slow, silent decay that's happening just out of sight, right behind the walls. This is so important to understand. That little water stain you might see on a ceiling, or that bit of peeling paint, that's not the problem. Not really. That's just the final symptom. The real structural damage began a long time before that, deep inside the building where you can't see a thing. So what's actually going on in there? Well, this hidden moisture is basically waging war on the building. It's corroding the steel reinforcement, literally rusting the building's bones away. It's rotting out finishes from the inside. It creates the perfect, damp environment for mold to just explode. And all of that adds up to one thing: a weaker and, frankly, less safe structure. This slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? It's the perfect illustration of the problem. On the left, you've got what you see, a small, maybe annoying water stain. But look at the right. That's the hidden reality: widespread structural decay and a steel skeleton that's being eaten away by rust. It's the difference between a cosmetic issue and a potential disaster. Okay, I know, this all sounds pretty grim, but there is a solution. And it all boils down to one simple idea: prevention, not cure. This is probably the most important thing to take away from all of this. Look, the crucial point, and I honestly can't say this enough, is that investing in high-quality, properly installed waterproofing during the initial construction is the single most effective way to prevent all this horrible, expensive damage. Trying to fix it later, it's a nightmare. It's exponentially more expensive and way harder. So why should you care? What does this actually mean for you? Well, it directly hits your wallet and your safety. Good waterproofing protects your property value. It ensures the building is structurally sound for everyone inside. And maybe most importantly, it saves you from potentially bankrupting repair bills down the road.
So, I'll leave you with this one last thought. We spend our lives surrounded by walls. We see their surfaces every day. But after today, I have to ask, will you ever look at them the same way again without wondering what's really happening on the other side?